but this is the first podcast since the kickoff meeting. So a couple things I wanted to cover. Two things. I, I have two questions, and then everybody gets to talk, and then we'll sign off. But the first one is I put in my emails, you know, every day pretty much win the day. Like win the day is something I put in there, and I sort of gloss over it because I talk about winning the day. So, hey, now I'm going to start with you. What if when I say win the day, there's no wrong answers. What does that mean to you?
Win the day.
Win the day.
Well, in my role, it depends what my day consists of. So if I have a day where win the day means if I'm doing more of the going out and selling and knocking on doors to try to maximize that. Win the day means if I have a bunch of meetings with my team, whether it's the Grand Rapids team or the South Bend team, we're trying to help them along in any way possible. Ride days are good when win the day when it comes to ride days are just get some sort of forward momentum and a lot of good accounts going for the reps. Win the day could mean a lot of different things depending on what my day consists of. In university, win the day could be let's get out of here knowing that everybody learned a lot and we answered their questions and they got a lot out of it, or they basically ended the day way further along than they
Okay.
started the day.
Good answer. Like I said, no bad answers. Cam?
Yeah, win the day from the perspective of like a sales rep. Which do I sound fine? By the way,
You sound a little echoey, but not bad.
we took a bunch of we're cleaning out this room, and so now there's nothing to absorb the sound.
That's okay. Just speak up. You're fine.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, win the day, I guess from a sales perspective, for me was always, I kind of like, yes, it comes down to things like completing your CADs and having a full day from a CAD standpoint. So 20 plus cards, 2 plus meetings, a demo, a sale, that's winning the day. But at the same time, for me, winning the day in the field was always doing the hard things that I didn't want to do. If I did the hard things, and that was kind of a complete day where I won it, it's 4:30, I want to stop, I've got enough cards, but I haven't set enough meetings throughout the rest of the week. I can't settle, I got to keep going. And so I was kind of to that point. I want to give a shout out to Coach Signetti because Kurt Osweiler posted it in the group me, a video of him talking about standards versus standards versus the circumstance that you're in. And so I was thinking about it immediately. I thought about in sales where it's a circumstance that could change how effective you are in the field or how hard you work and how much you do the hard things would be if you close an LTA at the beginning of a quarter or the beginning of a month. And then all of a sudden, just because of the circumstance, you now stop doing all the things that got you that LTA for the next couple of weeks. And then now you've screwed yourself over for 90 days from that point because you let off the gas because of the circumstance that you were in where you were feeling good. You stop doing the hard things versus just the standard of just every day doing something hard.
Signetti talks a lot about, and he coaches he quotes Coach K and some other coaches, but he talks about human nature.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole game is fighting human nature. And more of it's fighting human nature when things are going well than they are when things are going bad. Mm-hmm. It's easy to scramble when they're going bad, but human nature is to take your foot off the gas. So Signetti talks a lot about creating urgency with the team, even though things are going well. That's, I think, why he chews people's ass at halftime. They've made 2 mistakes in almost a clean half of football, but he's finding a way to keep them grounded. At halftime.
Sure. And it's easy to let your foot off the gas if you close a big account at the beginning of the month, or you've got some good, business development meetings that were set for you, and you feel like, oh, I don't have to work as hard on setting meetings now. Or you could just act like none of that is there and that every day is a new day and ignore whatever you closed the day before.
Yeah. Mentally broke. Austin, what do you think win the day? What did that mean? Does that mean anything? Like when I would say that, I know in the early days it might mean something different than now, but what's the mindset of win the day?
Yeah. So for the sales team, it's 2 appointments, a free trial, or a sale. It's 2 meetings, and if you get no meetings, but you get a free trial and a sale, you still won. So two of those three being on the CADS report, having a number on there, and they're legit free trials, they're legit meetings, not drop off some information, meetings that we sometimes we call meetings, they're not real. But if I'm a salesperson, that just pure and simple, that's it. For professional, if you look at what I had to start doing, is I started making like um, critical task lists, and I did 5 a day, because any more than that seemed like it was almost not doable. And so, but some of it was like, here's my professional critical tasks, here are my personal critical tasks, and here's something that's maybe like financially driven, like, hey, I need to stay within my budget, I need to not DoorDash food today, I need to meal prep the night before, whatever someone's goals might be. So you kind of have these buckets of professional, health and wellness, and then financial, or it can be relationships. You could make one of your critical tasks that you schedule a date night with your partner. But either way, 5 things, and if you knock off those 5 things, you've won the day. If you're talking about more than just the CAD side.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just give you my perspective on win the day and why I even put in the emails and kind of the way I've always thought about everything. In my mind, I view myself as like a business athlete. And I know that Ed Milet talks about that, but I've always thought of myself that way. I'm a business athlete. And when I'm between the lines, there are certain things I have to do to win each and every day, because every day is 5% of my month. I cannot afford to give up 5% just because I don't feel good once or twice in a month. If you don't feel like it, it's 10% of your month.
Mm-hmm.
So winning the day today, as an example, Austin, for me at 5 a.m., there's certain things I do between 5 and 6, between 6 and 7, between 7 and 8, and then when the day starts. For the most part, when I was in sales, day in and day out, whether it's in office equipment sales, water sales, or even when we've started some different startups, winning the day was looking yourself in the mirror and saying the following: I did everything I could possibly do to push the business forward today. And I had to look myself in the eye and be truthful. Did I or didn't I? And more times than not, I did. But you just have to be critical and look yourself in the eye. As I said at the kickoff, it does drive me crazy when people want to know why they're not making 250 a year, and yet they have they pull 16 cards, get 1 appointment, and get a free trial. They get 2 or 3 free trials a week, and they wonder if this is going to work or not for them. And I just winning the day. Yes. Is it 22-1-1? That is winning the day, but it's whatever you've got to do as a sports athlete. If you leave the house, somebody should pay. And you've got to have that sort of mindset that somebody's going to pay, and they're going to pay now. And I'm going to run all the way to the end. So that's sort of what win the day is. I think we're all saying the same thing. The part that is frustrating for me that I try to convey, and again, I can't make people be different than they are long term, even though we test. But there is a certain pace to people that win the day every day and people that win the day occasionally, right? So there's a certain pace. And for those of you, in our community watching this, do you move at a pace? Are you a business athlete that can win every day? That is just a question. Because if you can, sky's the limit. The second question I had, and I told you this wouldn't go too long, I gave 10 things at the kickoff, right? And I'll remind you,
Mm-hmm.
or I can send them to you. But beginning with the end in mind, developing a sustainable plan, changing your pattern or associations, having daily goals and rewards, being committed or interested. It's funny, Steve Newcomb sent me something today with being committed, like in the subject matter. I thought that was really cool. The power of now. What are you reading and listening to? Human nature, which is what we just talked about with Signetti, right? Like not keeping your foot on the gas when things are good. Free trial still rule. And then number 10 was get back to number 1. So of those 9 things, really, Austin, I'll go reverse order with you. What did any of those resonate at kickoff? Is there anything you were thinking about at the meeting that really got you, or you wanted to talk about, or you what of those 9 did meant something to you? Not that, I mean, it could be more than one, but
They
just pick one.
they all do, right? They all do. But I was thinking about this at kickoff, and then when I read your list, I was thinking about what was kind of the moment where it clicked, and I felt confident that this was a career path that I could do consistently and sustainably. And I feel like this is a part of, you have to know yourself, and that 1 year at a time. So
To explain it.
yeah. So for the group, Barry Snyder had been selling for Optimum, and he might not do that as much these days, but back in the day, he was a 50 unit a month machine, like clockwork. And without someone showing me that was possible, I think I would have sold myself short and been satisfied with 20. I really do. Like 20 units a month is great. But watching someone do 40 or 50 kind of set the bar. So the challenge was whoever sold more units throughout the course of the year, the loser had to fly to the winner, and Barry lives in Florida, and buy him a steak dinner. And the year prior, I took 287 units in 2016. 2017 was the year of the competition. I moved 401, and Barry moved 405. And so I lost, and I had to fly to Florida and buy him dinner. But that was the first time where like it was real money, and it unlocked something in me where beating him was more important to me than anything that entire year. So that was my goal, so that was my starting with the end in mind for the year, was like whatever I got to do to beat Barry. And I had a spreadsheet of who was winning each month. Like I checked it daily. He would post the scoreboard daily. I looked at that shit every day. And if he closed 10 units, that was the kick that I needed. So I would go and find and scour to make up the ground. So starting with the end in mind, but I wrote a little side challenge next to it, which was challenge someone above your weight class and be competitive. Because for me, that helped me.
Well, if you think about it, and we'll go to Cam next. But you think about it, if you start with the end in mind, the other things you did innately by doing that was you developed a plan, you changed your associations by actually challenging Barry, you set daily goals, you were committed because you didn't want to lose. You had to move every day or you weren't going to beat the guy, so you had to do it now. You probably changed the things you were thinking about, listening to or reading to try to get better or to stay motivated. I mean, like a lot of things kind of triggered because you started with the big goal, right? And kind of put yourself out there and took a risk. Some people take financial risks. That was more of a pride, ego, emotional risk, but it was a big jump from 240 to 400.
Oh yeah, 287 because Cam and I tied.
Oh, 287 to 400, yeah.
But I've kind of noticed that once you crack into that couple 100,000 mark, you don't go backwards. You have found your new bar. And I don't know anyone on our team. There's like the top 5, right? And those top 5, I could saw their leg off. They'll still be top 5 because that's just what they expect of themselves. So anyone who's listening who, if you were to dial it in for a year, what you'll do in that year, you'll never go back from. Like you will set the bar for yourself so much higher. And whether it's income or just success or the pride for it, because there's a lot of pride when end the month atop the scoreboard, and then you start the month and you're still atop the scoreboard, and you're just never not at the top. There is a certain, chest pounding element of that.
Agreed. Cameron, what was yours?
I'd say the main one, not to kind of touch on some of the things that Austin touched on, but the main one for me, which is a simple message, but it's extremely effective in just things that we see every day, which is the power of now. There's just so many things that happen throughout the day where, as sales reps or as customer service, admin, dispatch, anybody within the company, they have these things that happen throughout the day where they go, something comes across their desk or something comes up and they go, do I want to do that now or can I push it off to later? And especially when they're what I'll call like one door decisions, there's only one door to go through. Just do it now because it's going to drive you crazy. It's going to fester and it's going to cause you more anxiety to just put it off. And then once those other things start building that you also put off and start accumulating, then now you're not being as effective throughout the workday because you're thinking about all the things that you still have to do.
Yep.
So power of now is really effective. And I thought, that applies to sales, that applies to service, it applies to everything, obviously. But whether it's a customer who's reaching out who needs something and you see it and you're going, I can wait to respond to them. No, do it now. It's in front of you right now. Do it now while you're thinking about it and then move on. So that resonated well. And then I thought that the message was really cool also where you talked about living an unbalanced life. Kind of the unbalanced, that message was cool because it's almost like if you force yourself to live a quote unquote unbalanced work life, even if it's for, let's call it a month. If any sales rep, I were to take them and say, live what you would consider to be a very unbalanced work life for the next 30 days.
Yeah.
I can promise you that all of them would form habits quickly that made them better. And you naturally hit a point where your unbalanced becomes a balance, where like the things that seemed hard before, and it's like, that's just a crazy amount of work to do within a week. You start to be able to, you have a palate for it. Like you become accustomed to it. And then now that's just the new set of RPMs that you're used to running at. And that's your new normal. That's your new balance.
It's your new, to use Dr. Harvey's, it's your new floor.
It's your new floor.
It's your new floor. It's because you were unbalanced for a short period of time. And I think you could take anything and use an example. I could say golf. I got unbalanced for a little bit in my spare time with golf. I got unbalanced to go from a 24 to a 13. And now my floor is a 13. But I had to get unbalanced with it for a while. Right? When I weighed 240 pounds, I had to get unbalanced with my exercise and my diet to get down to 185 to then set a new floor and get sort of balanced in with the rest of my life. And it's just like that in sales. You got to go effing crazy in the beginning to try to set a pace that you're sort of used to, unbalanced. And then it starts to feel pretty normal because you did that for a short period of time. And then the rest of your life can kind of come in and sort of get back in balance. But it's not going to stay balanced and you get good at anything. You got to get unbalanced at the thing you want to really, focus on and hone your skills and raise your level. And then you can sort of balance everything out in seasons. And there's definitely seasons. So, well, I'm glad those sort of resonated. That's cool. Hayden, how about you?
Yeah, I had daily goals and rewards and begin with the end in mind and in writing. Both of them kind of revolve around writing down your goals and the psyche or the psychological aspect behind that. I've been writing down, I think since I was a freshman in high school, it was like, what do I want to accomplish athletically and academically? And we'll start off with something I know is achievable and get it up to something that I don't think I can do. I want to do, don't think I can. We'll see if I can get there. And then of the 5, I'd usually hit either 4 of the 5 or hit all 5. And just beginning to just not only is setting a daily goal, I feel like is reassuring. If we're talking about winning the day, you can quite literally write down, okay, I need 30 cards, 3 appointments, and 2 demos to win the day today, and then reward yourself accordingly afterwards. But I also like year whether it's the beginning of the year, beginning of the month, writing down a goal and holding yourself to it, and then writing down a few goals that kind of scare you a bit, that you don't know if you can actually, like, oh, that's going to take some doing to get there. I don't know if I can, but aim for it anyway. And when you see it every day, you're going to work towards it whether you want to or not, essentially just because that'll resonate with your subconscious and you're going to manipulate yourself. I keep something either on sticky notes in my car or hanging from the mirror, and then occasionally certain goals I'll have in my car, and then also on my mirror in my bathroom. So that's like one of the first things I see when I wake up, and I'm groggy, and but your subconscious will absorb that and you'll work towards it.
So it was more reaffirming than anything else.
Correct.
Okay. That's awesome. So I would say, and depending on what you guys said was what I was going to talk about, but the thing that probably has been more apparent to me as we've scaled has been pace. Who can handle the pace? Because, and I'm going to talk more about leaders and sales reps, but leaders have to absorb. So the power of now, Cameron, pace. Like if you can make just 3 more decisions in a day, that's 15 more decisions in a week. That's 45 more decisions, right? Or I'm sorry, it's 60 more decisions in a month. You're going to win.
Right.
Right. Or you can delay 60 decisions and compound it on top of it, and then it's super stressful. So I think pace is really, really important if somebody wants to be a leader, and they have to be able to run at a certain pace, make decisions quickly. Mistakes are fine. Things happen. So the other one I was just going to cover is committed versus interested, because I can tell really quick interested people fall short quickly. They just when you decide that it is do or die. I remember I was 2 years into selling office equipment. It was a Friday afternoon. It was the last day of the month, and it was 3:00. And I was short. I don't know, 15 grand in revenue, which in that business is 3 deals. And I remember going to a current customer and closing a free trial and showing up at the office at 6:30 and writing a note to my manager that said win or die. Slid it under his door, because they were paper contracts back then. Win or die, exclamation point. Slid it under Craig Fouts' door. He was the guy. And I went home and I knew I'd won the day that day. But I was committed. Like, this is the number. We're gonna hit the number. And I've had lots of conversations from December until today with people inside the organization, people I've worked with forever and people that are new. And I would tell you the most frustrating conversations I've had with people, some of them really tenured. It's a Monday or Tuesday, and we're talking about a big deal, and they're saying, well, let's meet with them next Wednesday. That's 6 days away. Right? That to me does not work. So it's like, let's do it now. Why can't we talk to them tomorrow? So those are the things that I think that urgency is really what separates Barry Snyder, Kurt Osweiler, Shauna Veach Evans. She's definitely a do it now person. I would say that's definitely a do it now person, right? Where are you out? Do it now. So, which I love. So that really is a huge differentiator. Are they going to get it done today, now, or are they going to sort of do we get in this rhythm where we're sort of deciding what people's psyche is, and we don't want to push them too much, and we only get so much done in a day, week, or month because we're not trying to get stuff done right now. So, anybody, we're 26 minutes in. Anybody got anything else they want to cover?
No, but the point you're making, like we've looked at the sales metrics for the last 5 years, and they are the number of units that we average per rep is going down.
Is going down.
The same thing is happening with the service team for the number of work orders that we complete. And we changed the PM process, and there's a few variables that I can get behind and say, okay, maybe a little bit. But we were talking about this last night, and a couple of the guys who are more tenured ex-indie technicians, right? They've moved to different positions now in the company. They were like, we would get 9 tickets done a day, and we would compete with each other. We would talk smack as soon as we go back to the shop. If someone did 6 and I did 8, the philosophy was I get to razz you until you walk out the door because I kicked your butt today. And the outlook now, and this is in indie, but this is broader because it's a bigger company, is that I'll just get my 4 done is a reoccurring kind of standard that as a group we need to figure out how to incentivize or how to get that kind of small business mentality back, because as it gets big, it can slip, and it is slipping. I feel it slipping now, and so talk about it live on here, but we should think about what we want to do there to try to dial people in.
Well, I think what we're doing right. I mean, we've been kind of focusing on some different things, but the reason I'm excited that Jeff Larson got promoted, the reason I'm excited that Dylan's moving on, the reason is the people that have informally set the pace are getting to take their next step.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to challenge them to keep the pace up. It may not be exactly in the same way, but keep the pace up, because I think the true informal leaders, the true MVPs of the sales team and you don't have to necessarily be a manager, but just people that keep internally setting the pace and pushing the limits. That's as a new person out of college in sales, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I pissed a lot of people off because I was doing revenue numbers that nobody had ever done before, but I didn't know what the limitations were because nobody said anything. They said you could do 100,000 in a month. And I'm like, okay, what do I have to do? How much activity? Okay, fine. So, but these self-limiting thoughts, self-limiting doubts that people put on, they put their own cap on themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's important that their peers sort of run through that cap and they see somebody else doing it. So I'll be curious in 2026 who those informal leaders start to be. Who's going to set the pace? Who's going to get out there and do 50 coolers a month or 50 units a month, 40 units a month, and sort of pick on those that are trying to do 7 and hit their number. Because I think you can do both. You can do a lot of activity with units, and you can also have a lot of RMR as well. One doesn't exclude the other. The key is pace, right? The key is to keep moving. And don't get too hung up on anything, right? Whether you're the sales leader or the salesperson, don't get too hung up on anything very long, because you got to keep moving. But okay, and if there's nothing else, we're at 30 minutes. We did pretty good this time. I appreciate you guys answering those 2 questions. I think it'll be super valuable to the sales team. And I'll have a couple more questions on the next call. So love you guys.
All right.
All right.
Love you.
Love it.
See you.
See you.